Here.
Mr. Shelkins.
Here.
Mrs. Singleton.
Here.
Mr. Trzanka.
Here.
And Mrs. Montel.
Here.
Does this work? Just so everybody knows, and can you still hear me without the mic?
No.
No?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now? Probably no better. No better? Okay.
Fine, yeah.
I'm going to speak for myself, and we'll see what the rest of council thinks afterwards. But the discussion that's been out there has been merger, police information. There's been discussion out in the media that said things about takeovers, disbandment. Just to put this to rest right now, I'm going to make the motion after hearing our town talk specifically about New Swickley takeover, disbandment. I'm making a motion right now that we discontinue any further discussions with New Swickley.
Is there a second on that motion?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Roll call.
Okay, this is going to be roll call to no longer continue discussions of police consolidation or merger with New Swickley Township. Am I correct?
Correct.
Okay. So it's going to be yes if you want, no, let's do yes if you do not want to continue. Okay? Mr. Bisson.
I didn't quite understand this, the vote on the, I didn't hear it too good.
To continue or discontinue talks with New Swickley.
Yes is to, we'll do the other way for you. Yes is to continue, no is to not to continue. Do it that way.
His vote yes.
He wants to continue.
No.
No.
No. That's a hard one, okay. Mr. Spur's not here. Mr. Cantula.
Do not continue.
Mr. Shelkins.
Not to continue.
Mrs. Singleton.
Yes.
Mr. Trzanka.
I'm going to say no, and the reason I'm going to say no is because this council, everybody here except for Mr. Bisson, voted to send letters to all those municipalities. And we did nothing more than obtain budget numbers from 3 of the 5. One said no and one never responded. To arbitrarily eliminate one without getting any information seems like a moot point. We might as well just discontinue talking with everybody.
Mrs. Montel.
I'm in agreement with Mr. Trzanka.
5 no, 1 yes. Carried to.
Motion is carried. Will not.
I will make a motion that we discontinue talks with all of these departments.
Yeah.
That's good.
I'd like to make a comment, please.
Sure.
I understand everybody is clapping for that. Does everybody here understand the difference between consolidation and being taken over? When we sent the letters out, we asked for merger information from 5 or 6 different places. New Swickley, to the best of my knowledge, was the only one that sent back a contract with how much they would want to take over each year. If people aren't interested in consolidation, I can understand that. I just don't think everybody understands what the difference is.
Hold on, I never saw a contract.
There's no
But you saw, you
They
did see,
sent budget numbers.
that what they sent you was what it would cost for 5 years.
Okay,
And they had a figure each year. Nobody else sent us that. That's what they said they would do to provide us with coverage here 24/7.
okay, so they sent that, so we're arbitrarily gonna throw them out because they did that. But if Conway or Rochester does it, we'll be okay with
didn't say that, I just said there's two in consolidation.
Yeah, well, there's an absolute difference there. Sewickley is New Sewickley is really far away.
I'm not disputing that, however.
Please,
However,
let him
all we got
explain.
were budget numbers.
But you're wasting your time. If you're talking to New Sewickley, everybody in here can attest that you are
Okay,
absolutely wasting
so
your
let
time.
me ask you, if Conway comes in and they're $100,000 more than New Sewickley, that's a good deal, is that what you're saying?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say.
You don't
All
want
we
a
got-
takeover. A
All we
consolidation
got are
is,
budget numbers,
a consolidation is completely different.
and I'm not disputing that, but to arbitrarily throw one department out because they went ahead and set a 5-year budget and nobody else did, we're just gonna toss them off to the side.
No, that's not why. They're too effing far away.
Okay, well, my motion still stands.
He has a
to
motion on the
discontinue
floor.
talks with all police departments.
Was there a second to that motion? You can speak after the motion, after the motion. Judy, motion is on the floor. Until that is done, we can't discuss anything. There is no second to that motion.
I'll make a second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Do you understand what the motion is? The motion is to discontinue talks with all boroughs.
I don't.
Is that, okay, Dave made the motion, Dawn seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Roll call.
So gonna do roll call? Okay, this is roll call. Yes, if you want to discontinue discussions with all municipalities regarding police consolidation or contractual services. Mr. Bisson,
Yes.
Mr. Catula,
No.
Mr. Shelkins,
No.
Mrs. Singleton,
Yes.
Mr. Trzanka,
Yes.
Mrs. Montel.
Yes.
4 yes, 2 no. Motion not.
Okay, this matter is settled. There will be no consolidation. There will be no further discussions with New Sewickley regarding takeover. We now open the room up to visitors. Each and every one that wants to speak, we give them 3 minutes apiece. They take the podium, you state your name and address. Whoever, sir, ma'am, sir, yellow shirt, you're,
You want the top speak first?
Yeah, the
You want to let the speak?
Officer Shipley wanted to speak.
I mean, if it's a moot point, I'm gonna make it anyways, but Baden Borough Police Department, just like we talked about in July's meeting of 2020, you asked us and we spoke. I spoke specifically. I said the Baden Borough Police Department is totally fine with a merger, a consolidation, going out looking at, possibly merging with Conway or merging with, Conway or merging with these other departments that want to make us better police officers, that want to make us a better, like a bigger team, right? So that way we can service the community better. The New Sewickley thing that went down was purely talks of takeover. That's why we were so upset about the takeover, right? Nobody wants to be taken over, even though we would be full-time police officers for New Sewickley, from what the information that was out there. We still absolutely support a merger or consolidation. We still absolutely support it. The police department does. It's just, I want to throw that out there. I mean, you guys already voted, so it's, I guess it's a done issue. That's not what we want. We want to be merged. We want to be a bigger police department. But unfortunately,
thank you. Sir, you had something to say.
Hello, my name is Sean Jackson. I live on Watson Street.
Do we have a microphone for him? Is there a microphone? Go ahead. There he goes.
There you go. Hello, my name is Sean Jackson. I live on Watson Street. I moved here in May of this year. with the talks of taking over a police department. I come from a town which is called DeVosburg. In DeVosburg, about 15 years ago, they actually, contracted their police department, which they have their local police department just like Baden does, where, there was probably 3 or 4 paid or full-time guys and a few part-time guys. What they did is they contracted that to McKeesport. And in that contract, they were supposed to have a police officer there in our borough 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365, days a year. But what ended up happening after the first or second year, you barely ever saw a cop. If you would want the police, you ended up waiting 10 to 15 minutes for them to come. We were a 0.9 square mile radius. It takes from my house, where I used to live, to their police department was 3 to 5 minutes. So in turn, what happened is you had Section 8 move in, you had drug dealers move in because they decided that they could watch the bridge on which way the police were coming to protect the town. And what happened was, within the last couple of weeks, you had a shooting over a bad drug deal, and the local store just got robbed the other day. I mean, if you want that to happen to your borough, contracting to a police force that's, a couple boroughs away would definitely be, what would happen or would be to come. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. We respect your opinion, and as you heard from these votes, it's not gonna happen.
I understand. I just wanted to give my opinion because I come firsthand from the knowledge of what happens when you do that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You can ask me.
Hi, I'm Len Gaudet. I live on Walnut Street in Baden. I stand behind our police department, and I was at the last meeting, and I'm glad that you guys have listened to us as residents for our future that we were looking out for, that we want to stay in a safe community and environment. Now, our police department has asked for a canine officer, and you said last week that it was not budget reasons why you were looking to contract the police department out. You said that we could fully compensate our own police force. Can we do that and give our police officers the canine officer that they are requesting and the other officers that you wanted to hire?
We're in the process now of hiring. In fact, I believe we might re-advertise but we do now have 5 applicants. As far as I would love to see a canine officer. The thing that is do you have any idea the cost of that? Do you have any idea what the liability involved in that is? That is something, yes, it's on a wish list, but I can't foresee it happen at all in the near future. I really can't.
Has anyone contacted Big Ben at the Steelers? He gives out canine officers and he has programs that he does work with. He's done it in Ohio.
But you still have to have an officer that will take full responsibility of the dog, have the dog live with them,
Right.
and you have to send the officer to school just like the dog.
I understand that, and I
The
know that.
liability, if you contact the city of Pittsburgh or one of the other communities that do have the luxury of owning one of those dogs, you will see how expensive it is. The borough is responsible for all vet bills, anything involving that dog, and you obviously want to give it the best.
Right.
You do.
Can I give you the information?
You can hand it to you can give it to the chief of police here. I'm sure he'd be more than interested in it.
Sure, I'll do that for you. And thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak? Yes.
All right, so, you guys hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hello, check. All right, so listen, last week you saw.
We need name and address.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. My name is Rob Kondraski. I live at 1001 3rd Street in Baden. So last week, everybody showed up in outrage about contracting out to New Swickly. We weren't, we didn't like that idea. But talking to the police officers, some council members listened to what we had to say last week, and the consensus of the people who we did talk to was that if we are behind our police, if they would recommend something, we also support that. They know what's best. There are our law enforcement experts in this town. So I understand. Yes, we clapped and everything for the second motion, but that wasn't necessarily a good thing here. You know, we have local towns. If we were to do a merger, not a contracting out, and you know, if our police are recommending that it could be better for us, we could have a stronger law enforcement presence in the area. We can have a faster response time in the area. Then we could have the special training for maybe a canine officer, maybe a detective, things like that. I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, guys. You know, I mean, we love our officers, and the whole thing with the consolidation, yes, they would have a full-time job. However, after that contract were to end, then what was to happen after that? That's what we were concerned about that as well. So I don't think, you know, we already filed the motion and everything, but I don't think that we would be mad here if there was a merger. I just don't think we want to contract our safety out to put our safety in the hands of another town council. We want you guys to look out for us. We don't want New Swickly to be in charge of our safety here in Baden. That's what our main concern was, okay? Secondly, I just wanted to ask you guys, did you get numbers from New Swickly? Did they send how much they would be charging you? Yes, you guys did see that, okay.
It wasn't a final.
It was an estimate.
Estimate.
Okay, thank you for being upfront about that. But yeah, if our police officers, if they think it's a good idea to maybe join with Conway, to maybe join with Harmony, or the more local departments.
Harmony has 3,700 residents.
Right.
As of 2018.
Right.
We have 3,900 as of 2018.
Right.
Conway, I believe, has around 32 or 4,000.
Yeah, so they're
so
all,
that was okay.
Everybody would have a stake in the game there, with all the towns being similar size and population. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. If our police are recommending something, I think we should listen to them because they are the experts. Do you guys have?
Can I address it?
Sure.
Just, I think that information got out.
Right.
That wasn't exactly accurate.
Okay.
Okay?
Right.
I think, one, a consolidation merger, whatever, is not gonna save us money. It's not.
Okay.
Okay, just run the numbers, it's not.
Okay.
Okay? I think, because Harmony Township's commissioner called me after the last meeting.
Okay.
And said, what do you mean you didn't get a letter from us? Yeah, one of Harmony Township's commissioners called me after me and said, what do you mean you didn't get a letter from us? I said, we got nothing from Harmony Township.
That's right.
So he's checking on it.
Okay.
And maybe we should have sat down with the police a little
right
sooner, but in my eyes, all we were trying to do was get budget numbers.
Okay.
Just to see where we would stand, because we have the state study from 5 years ago that says,
okay,
you know, Baden should have 4 officers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And all we were trying to do is get budget numbers.
Okay.
I agree that I think, I will tell you that consolidation is coming.
Right.
And not just for police.
Right.
I think we need to look at public works, we need to look at fire department, you know, and stuff like that.
With the towns being as close as they are, similar size, similar population, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, like I said.
I agree.
If our guys are recommending it.
The committee needs to sit down with police officers.
Absolutely.
And put something in writing, exactly what everybody's looking for.
I agree.
Then we can go out to the municipalities and say, this is what we're gonna look at.
I mean, I don't think it would be such a bad idea to maybe bring a police chief from each, ask them to come and do a meeting with everybody. You know what I mean? Get everybody together.
Absolutely.
I think that'd be great.
We never got the chance to
Right,
do
get
that.
that.
but I think the reason why I think the reason why everything spread like wildfire last week is because there was so little information that what did get out got amplified to maybe something that wasn't 100% true. And that's why there was the outrage. You know what I mean? If there was a statement, if you guys put out a statement, hey, this, you know what I mean, people felt like they were being left in the dark, that there was like a behind the scene thing happening. And that's why people were upset. So
I mean, anything that this council does has to be done in public.
Right.
So it's not like anybody was trying to backdoor anybody. We just didn't have all the information.
So last Tuesday there was a meeting that the public was not. It was like an executive meeting.
That was quickly, sir. That was all of council. Our council was invited. With their supervisors. We met with their supervisors. Nothing more was added because I don't believe, I think the information we got there, we didn't learn anything. We want to know about longevity. We want to know about seniority. We want to know even about vacation.
Sure, right, exactly.
And that is something that has to be discussed, not so much, not just with News Weekly, with Conway.
Absolutely.
We met with Conway.
But
Rochester.
to my point, just if we're kept informed, then there's no way for, you know, you ever hear the game telephone when someone tells something and then by the time it gets around the circle it turns into something totally else? Maybe that's what happened, you know what I mean? From word of mouth, Facebook, everything else. People took it a way that it didn't need to be taken. And I mean, you saw the support, so we support our police. Does everybody agree that we support our police? We support our police. Now, if they're telling us that something, a consolidation or merger or something is a great idea, then I think we need to listen. We need to listen to them. Do you guys agree? We need to listen to the police officers? Okay.
I would like to say something to follow up on this gentleman's statement here, because I don't think that it's coming out as clearly as it actually is, and here's why it was wrong. Number one, originally, Mrs. Montel came to me when we talked about possibly merging or consolidating. And Mrs. Montel said to me, Dave, we want you every step of the way to be a part of this process. We want you involved from square one to day one. I had to be on vacation and get a phone call from Frank Mercier, the chief of Rochester, because he said that all of a sudden, Baden Borough showed up to a meeting without their police chief. And he actually said to our council, whoever representatives were, hey, where's Dave? Because Dave should be here too. Which, let's be honest, your town's chief, whether it's me or somebody else, should have been in that talk, okay? The police chief of New Swickley was there Tuesday night, was he not?
Well, it was their meeting.
Right. Why wasn't the Baden Borough Police Department represented? Sit down with Conway, and the mayor said to Adam Johnson, who is the mayor of, is the police chief of Conway, hey, are you coming to this meeting with Baden Borough? He said, is Dave going to be there, i.e. the Baden chief? They said no. So guess what? He said, I'm not going to this meeting because if the chief of Baden is not there, I have no reason to be here. So I'm not saying that they did anything in a backdoor manner. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is I look out for the residents of Baden first and foremost, period. That's what I do. That is my job. I can't do it if I'm not included in these such meetings. The New Swickley police chief was there. The Rochester police chief was there. The Conway police chief was asked to be there, but he declined simply because he said, I'm not meeting without the Baden police chief, and I can respect the man for that. Frank Mercier, the chief of Rochester, was not happy when the meeting was brought to head, and I was not there. And so I'm, again, not saying to the council that it was done in a backdoor manner. What I'm saying is maybe if you would have included us, I could have brought this back to them and said, hey, we're just getting numbers, or hey, we're just doing X, Y, Z. But the reality was we were left in the dark. And I'm just going to say this. After 6 or 7 years ago, when we felt like we were fighting for our jobs. And that's exactly what we were doing, because we were told that we were basically gonna be defunded and there was gonna be no more Baden Police Department. How are we supposed to feel when we hear things like this? When this already transpired already once? Now, all we want is a chance to do what's best for the town of Baden, what's best for the people of Baden. I can't do that if I'm left in the dark. So I just respectfully request that if council would do this, and again, I'm not claiming that they did anything backdoor or anything like that. I would just like the police department to be included, because let's be honest, we're a big part of this. This is our town. We actually care about this town. We care about I'll just close with this. You're not going to get a new Swickley police officer who's going to care about your town like I do. I've been here since 2000. This is my priority. You are my priority. And we just ask that we be included to try to help the people of Baden.
As public safety chair, I'll tell you that I don't think there was enough communication. I'll take responsibility for that, and we already know we can do better, okay? But on the other hand, we have to make sure that you guys are doing the same thing with us. If you hear something that it comes as a surprise to you guys, my phone never rang. So when all this miscommunication happened, you didn't hear anything from us, we didn't hear anything from you, so everybody thought everything was going as normal until it hit the media.
But
So
then
I
there
agree.
wasn't miscommunication, because I spoke to the new Swickley chief. He told me
I understand.
what was going on.
I understand.
So
And I just
there
said-
is no
I
mistake
said
in that.
communication from us.
Yeah.
And I
There is
agree.
no
You're-
mistake
You're
in that.
absolutely right, I agree. But communication could be better from us. I absolutely agree.
I think after all the comments,
Your name and
I'm sorry, my
address.
name's Christina Smith, I live on Detmar Avenue, Baden. I think after all the comments here and the discussion has occurred, I believe a motion to discontinue talks with any police department was premature. It was premature because of the things that we have discussed here tonight. And I think that this entire room and community did not understand what was going on because of the lack of communication. And I think that this whole room would not have clapped for to discontinue talks with any police department if they understood what was going on here. And I think that, again, it was premature to make that motion, and I feel, as well as our police department feels, that a merger or consolidation could be beneficial to this borough, regardless of whether it's going to save us money or not. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking more about whether it's going to be beneficial for our police department as well as another community's police department with a similar size as ours. We have 3 officers on, and you're currently trying to hire a 4th. Obviously, 3 or 4 officers cannot run efficiently a 24/7, 7-day-a-week service with 3 officers.
They've been doing it for quite a long time.
I understand that, but how can that be, how can that be efficient running a 7-day-a-week operation, 24 hours a day with 3 officers? It's working. I'm not saying it's not working. I'm just saying that it's not efficient. And so if we had an additional officer or a consolidation with another police department that could increase our police presence and could make it easier on our Baden officers, but not move our officers out of the community. And like our officer said, Chief of Police said, if we include them in what's going on, and include the township or the borough of what's going on, I don't think there would be as much disdain and as much opposition to this as there was. And obviously you all have said that the new Swickley deal was a takeover, and that's not what the community wants. But again, I think the motion to discontinue talks was premature and it needs to be revisited. Thank you.
Sergeant Alvarez cut his hand, you know, and he's gonna be off work possibly for a little while, potentially. I'm working 80 hours from Sunday to Sunday, 80 hours.
Yeah,
Those people don't work 40.
Right, and tomorrow's trick or treat, my kids are 6 and 4. I have to be here because we're short policemen. I can't go trick or treating with my kids because I gotta make sure the borough of Baden is safe because we don't have enough policemen. That is the fact of the matter.
Sir, in the back.
Mike Swanowski, 427 Holmes Avenue, and the chief really touched upon a lot, and I was just gonna say, communications is what the problem is. You have to understand, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, when they originally tried disbanding this police department, it left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth. And a lot of it's perception too, guys. One, you appoint somebody to look into this that got voted off council because of that. How does that look? It's appearance. You have Facebook presence, you have an internet page. A lot of this could have put on there that could have got rid of this, you know, like we're on a fact-finding mission. How hard is that to put? Nothing's happening right now. We're sending letters out, because not everyone makes meetings. Publicize it. And then people are informed. Explain what a consolidation is as opposed to takeover. And you avoid all of this. Because like I said, 5 years ago, that left a real bad taste in a lot of people's mouths.
Absolutely.
And you can see where everybody gets a little upset when they hear that this department might be disbanded. We like this department. They do a great job, fantastic job. I personally worked with these guys. I'm a law enforcement officer. You know, I mean, we couldn't ask for better.
But they need help.
They do.
They do.
And like Officer Shipley said, merger, consolidation, that's great, you know, but communicate better with your residents. That way they're better informed, and we avoid all this. We avoid all this outrage and everything.
Thank
we
you,
can do
sir.
better, guys.
Thank you. Can everybody, 1 second, please. Sir, I see you back there, and you're next. You. The only thing I want to say, can everybody that's been at a council meeting in the last year, please raise their hand? Good. Good.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a point I'd like to prove. We meet, it's published, it's in the newspaper at the beginning of every year. You will learn so much more if you come to a meeting. We meet.
None of that information we ever in any of these mailings.
Sir, it's published in the newspaper.
Not everyone gets the paper.
Do you pay, you know what, I'm sorry, sir, do you?
You are.
I'm
you
sorry,
are
good.
correct.
Okay,
I
let's,
recognize that. We are in a couple of the meetings. Yeah.
sir, go ahead.
Good evening. Listen, my name is Al Everett. I live at 665 Milton Street, and I've been a resident of Baden for 57 years. And I cannot imagine Baden without a police department. Now, you had a merger down in Conway and Freedom, and that did not work out. The people in Freedom wasn't being taken care of. And they came back. They want their own police department down there. I'm very sure that that's correct.
No, that's not correct, sir. Actually, Conway is taking over Freedom.
I said before, this was about 7 years ago this happened.
Yeah, well, it's.
Well,
Years ago.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I want my town to be safe. I want to be able to walk down the streets. And if we cut anybody or any police officer, it's a big mistake. Personally, I know it takes extra money. But do you want safety in today's world? Look what's happening in the world. Crime is up everywhere. And if you get rid of the police, there's going to be crime everywhere. You need to unify. The council and the police department need to work together. And if you're lacking money, I am personally willing to pay more taxes to have safety in my town.
My name is Michael Loftus. I live at 219 State Street. Just as everybody else in this borough, I support the police department 100%. I back them on decisions that they make and opportunities that they get, just as the Baden Fire Department. I'm a volunteer there. You know, both departments make multiple sacrifices all year long, day in, day out, not seeing their kids, doing this, leaving dinner tables for calls, whatever it may be. But touching on your point specifically, Judy, you are correct. Everybody in this room, I just want to say shame on you if this is your second council meeting this year.
You're right.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself, because these meetings go on every month, and I'll gladly give my seat up in them if somebody wants to take it to get in there. Okay? Everything that they talk about is public knowledge. If you're too damn lazy to come down on a Wednesday night to hear what they have to say in your own town, you shouldn't be here tonight. There's ways to get the information.
Okay, we're gonna take one more resident and then we're gonna go on with the meeting. Who's it gonna be? Pardon me? This lady
No, way in the back.
in the back? That one?
Yeah, right here.
I'm sorry, I can't see.
Bob Simoniak, 631 Virginia Avenue. I'm really going to say I'm disappointed to call this our council. To throw a temper tantrum at the beginning of the meeting. This is the best attendance you ever had, Dave. You threw a temper tantrum at the beginning of the meeting, and you made a motion to cut off talks of something that is good for the community. If you take a poll about all these people out here, they don't know what they're here for. You don't want controversy, which I'm surprised at, but these people don't know. What you're talking about doing, we know is good. Merger is good. Merger with the fire department's good. We're in the process of looking at studies now with the fire department. You know that's good, but you shut these people up, you cut the meeting off, and that's why they're mad. Now they understand a little bit. You know, Ms. Montel, the gentleman here about Freedom, he's 100% right. Freedom got rid of their department. They went to Rochester years ago. Then they wanted their department back because they weren't getting the coverage. That's what you have to know. You guys aren't even educated yourself to make these decisions for this community. So that's a big deal. You should still be talking to these guys. Don't tell me, Dave, you know better. That was a shady deal. I'm not blaming Teddy, but there was part of this council that didn't include Dave on purpose. And I know that because people on this council are ridiculous. You know that. So everybody here, look who's on council, talk to them personally. Get the information from them. Ask them what they support. Figure out what their ideas are. Who they hate. Because that'll be a big thing for you. Who they want to get rid of. So, deal with it, guys. This is your community. You boosted your meetings probably for a while because who knows what you're doing. You're not transparent. Okay? You're hiding things. I can't believe it. These people aren't stupid. You got to inform them though. And you all have to be informed also.
Can you guys hear me? I got a big mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so I'm Rob Konjerski. I live on Detmore Avenue in Baden as well. Last week when we had our meeting, well, we canceled the meeting, but we stayed and had a little powwow with some officers and a couple of council members. And we were all under the impression that you guys were tabling the new Swickley thing, and you guys were going to continue talks with Harmony, Conway, Ambridge, or Economy, or whoever. Okay, that was what we understood from last week. To come in here and group all those other communities together, David, was wrong. That was not the right thing to do.
Well,
if you're going to take the reason we didn't want New Swickley is because they're too far away. You have a relative out there, I hear, that's great.
I don't. But
move out there if you like it so much.
I don't have a relative out there.
And something else we would like to know, who on council held up the hiring of the police officer since Spencer left? Can I see a show of hands Who held that up?
Nobody, you don't have an officer.
He wants to know who on council.
Who didn't approve Spencer's replacement for this long? Why do we not have enough officers? What is the reason? It's not money. Is it a vendetta?
I don't believe anybody said it, we wouldn't hire a police.
I didn't hear you, Mr. Bisson.
Go ahead, repeat, I'll repeat. Go ahead, what did you say, Mike?
Nobody here said, not just they said we wouldn't hire any police, any additional police.
How many full-time officers do we have, David?
3.
How many is Baden supposed to have?
Well, we've always had 5.
We've had 5. So you're down 2.
No.
Why are we down 2 police officers?
That is incorrect. We've had 4 since quite a long time.
No, we had
Basically,
5
since
police
I've been on
officers
council 20
Stand up,
years.
please.
until Chief Khaleesi passed away. We had 5, when I got hired, we had 5 police officers, 5 full-time.
That's correct.
Chief Khaleesi passed away, they never replaced them.
Okay,
so
hold
we
on.
had 4.
Why wasn't he replaced?
He
He was administrative.
He was administrative.
He didn't patrol.
he did not control.
Okay, so you agreed to be a chief and you're gonna take a route.
I agree, I have a contract that I do not, I can make my own schedule, but I choose to work a shift so I can help cover what we need to cover.
Well, that's
So I couldn't do
you
it.
shouldn't have to. Well, okay, so how long have we been down an officer? How many years?
Actually, since Jack Spencer retired.
2013.
Is it
3 years?
Longer than that.
3?
3 years, 2 years, 1 year, that's.
How long has it been? I think it was 2013, Sue, am I not? Where's Sue at? Okay, who held, why didn't we hire a police officer? We want to know.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's
Why didn't we hire a police officer?
Police and let them do our job so that we are safe for our community.
Can somebody please answer me?
I don't know why. I can't give you that answer.
I brought it up quite a few times.
There's been a few of us who have discussed it. I think the budgets have not allowed us to, I don't know how the money's got moved. That was before I was on the board.
Okay, what I understood last week at our little powwow is that we did not have a money issue at all.
That's what we were told.
So, who here suppressed the hiring of that officer? And whoever did ought to get up and resign and leave. Because that's not the kind of people we want to be. Get off. You're going to put our public safety ahead of a vendetta that you may have against the chief or one of the other officers. That's absolute crap.
Okay, sir, your 3 minutes is up, and also we have to get on with the regular meeting. So,
Well, I'd like to know. You still don't have an answer.
They don't have an answer. Why do we let the council hire a police officer and not the police chief? Why is that
Civil
being
service.
allowed?
State law, civil service. There's a civil service committee.
Why aren't you doing your job?
It has nothing to do with what borough council. We take the recommendation of the civil service commission.
Well, who's the civil service? On-
Elizabeth Drizzenko, no, Mike's on here, Justine Wojtovich, and Tim Buck.
And why aren't they here?
Why should they be here? That's civil service, has nothing
We're
to do
dealing-
with
we're
council
dealing with the
whatsoever.
police.
No, they have no control of, the only thing they do is interview for hiring. They have nothing to do with the actual police department. It's a committee, it's a action.
Judy.
Let's move on.
Judy, can I say one thing, please?
Please take the podium. We're gonna have one more.
My name is Christine Richard. I live right here on station.
Microphone.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Everybody knows, I don't know if everybody knows who I am, everybody knows who my mother was. My mother was Stella Bowden. Go back to these men right here
My mother would have died a long time before she happened to die. These men here, when we called them, they were there within 3 minutes. And you're gonna take that away from them? From us? My mother would be flipping in her grave right now if she saw the way this council is acting.
How are we acting?
How are you acting? We didn't even answer that gentleman's question.
These gentlemen, these officers'
Why
jobs were
did-
never, ever in jeopardy from any member of this
Then why
council.
don't we have the police officer that left here 7 years ago? Why hasn't that position been replaced?
We're doing our best. We had 2
7 years?
applications. Now we have 5.
It's taken you 7 years to get them?
It hasn't
3
been
years. Jack
7
left
years.
3 years ago, 2017.
In the meantime, we're running them down. You're running them down.
Now, anyway, if it wasn't for these 2 men here, my mother would have died a long time ago.
And we appreciate that, thank you. Let's go on. Minutes. Do we have an approval?
I make a motion to pass the minutes for September 9th and 16th.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Bills to be paid.
Motion to pay all bills with 2 signatures.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Resolution 2002, eliminating police members' contribution to the police pension plan for the plan year 2021.
Motion to adopt resolution 20-02.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. There are no ordinances or bids or correspondence this evening. Committee reports, John Shelkins.
General fund balance, $295,086. Expenses, $163,955. Water fund balance, $159,869. Expenses, $51,189. I'd like to make a motion to sign the Spencer subdivision plans that have been approved by the Baden Planning Board, reviewed by the County Planning Commission.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Public safety, Ted Cotula.
Motion to have the solicitor write and the secretary to advise for adoption the ordinance regarding the placement of stop signs per the traffic study recommendations on Virginia Avenue at the intersections of 3rd Street and 2nd Street. This ordinance will also include the speed hump on Virginia Avenue.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Motion to accept the $238,506 funding from the Southwestern PA Commission to upgrade the traffic signals at the intersections of State Street and Johnson Avenue, Harmony Road and Phillip Street. The borough match will be 20% at $47,701, which may be paid from liquid fuels.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion carried.
Regarding the full-time officer, we had discussed already, civil service has met to start the hiring process. We're gonna, for the school resource officer, we have an advertisement was run in the Beaver County Times looking for a part-time school resource officer.
Question on that, Ted, on full-time officer. Don't you think it would be wise to re-advertise so we have a few more applications?
Sure. We can re-advertise.
Right, and,
What week is
Why don't you do it on
Hold
Indeed
on.
too?
The Jimmy's looking at it, but evidently we were supposed to include the physical agility in the advertisement, so it may not even have been a legal advertisement. But Jimmy's gotta look into that.
Okay, and the people that have applied, from what I understand, can be sent a letter, explaining
Yes.
this, and there's no additional
We
fees,
believe so,
whatever.
yes.
Can you also advertise it on Indeed?
No, we're not allowed. Has to be in the newspaper.
You can't do both, like for
It
advertising
does, it automatically put a newspaper, it goes on to,
on the web?
yeah, it goes on the web, like ZipRecruiter and one of the other ones.
Okay.
It's automatic.
Motion paid to the fire department $500 from their budget for the purchase of hats and puzzles for the fire prevention week.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Motion to authorize the fire department to participate in the DCED Fire Department Consolidation Study.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Building, property, and grounds, again, at the total.
Motion to authorize the solicitor to prepare and advertise the sale of borough property. All of the properties were assessed from starting bid amounts. Heman Avenue, $7,500. Hickory Alley, $50,000. Jefferson Street, $18,000. And Grant Avenue, $18,000.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Motion to sign the lease agreement with Harvey's regarding the right-of-way at the bottom of Washington Street.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Public Works and Sanitation, Dave Trezenka.
Motion to purchase 100 flags, U.S. flags at $11 each and 100 flag poles at a cost of $10.95 each. The rec board will be contributing $675 towards purchase, and this is for the flags that go on State Street.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Motion to authorize Public Works to use a bucket truck to repair a light bulb on the Legion electronic sign. Note that the Legion advertises borough events on the sign at no cost to the borough.
Second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Nothing under municipal authority.
Mrs. Furr isn't here this evening for library. Community Relations and Recreation, Dawn Singleton.
Yes, we're still taking applications for the banners. If you haven't seen, they're along State Street. Please look, they're very nice. I thank anybody who has been a service member for their contribution to our state, our community. We had Halloween in the park this past Saturday. It went very well. We kept a tally. We had 120 kids come, and it was a great success. I want to thank Officer Shipley for his dedication, his time in the service, to be in there and helping us patrol. I'd also like to thank JR and his crew at the fire department that showed up with the fire trucks and help be there and assist kids in seeing what the fire is like and what the fire trucks is like, and talk to them also. I would also like to thank the merchants that participated in this event and the things they had to contribute to. I also like to thank the community for coming out and sharing such a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Dawn.
I have one more thing I need to bring up.
I also want to say my grandchildren got to go to that event, and they said it, they raved about it. They were really, really happy.
One more thing, John, did you have anything else to add to it?
No, I think you touched on it.
Okay, thank you, John. Ted, you said you had something to add?
Yeah, the chief had just sent me over some numbers. We were discussing patches for the officers.
Yes.
And we were trying to discuss how many we wanted to get. There are 100 for $375, 200 for $560, 300 for $675, and 500 for $750. What is your recommendation on what you think we need?
I mean, the price is way cheaper, obviously, if you get more, and you figure every shirt, every jacket is 2 patches.
So just
10
get the
off. I
500.
mean, that's what I would do.
I'll just make the motion that we purchase the badges, or the patches at $500 at $750.
Is there a second on that? Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Chief, isn't that in your budget?
Yeah, I have the money in the budget, but I can only spend up to 200
I see.
without the permission of council.
I see, I thought it was more than that. Great. Okay. Bob, did you have anything to say? If not, our solicitor has no report. Our engineer, I don't believe is here this evening. Elaine, is there anything that has to be addressed?
No, it's written on the agenda, his report, that's nothing that needs, council, it's more informative, there's nothing for council to go over with that. In case the residents want to know though, what the USDA loan is, It's a large loan we took out at a low interest to redo some water lines within the borough. So we've been working on this, it's gonna take government over a year and a half to get this done. So we're hoping by the end of the year we'll be able to close on it and do some repairs to our water lines.
Okay, also there was a pre-construction meeting on Friday, September 18th with the Community Development Program at Beaver County, and they are going to start working on the library, hopefully soon, probably after John. Did you meet with them? Do you know when?
We're waiting for them they had to outsource some of the stuff with the doors and things like that, for the library getting doors. Once he has all that lined up, then we'll get a notification for when they start construction. The goal is not to have the library closed. They're hoping to keep one door open and work from one side to the other.
Okay, thanks. Mayor Gagliardi, did you have a report this evening?
I would just like to thank the support from our citizens. As mayor, I've been working with our police department. I've been there for 20 years. And I can guarantee you, sometimes it's very frustrating for them. And they do the job. And they're short-handed, they pitch in. You guys come first for our police department. So once again, thank you very much for the support. It's really shut me on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any old business, new business to come before?
Judy, I just want to say something so the residents understand. And Dave, please speak up if I'm wrong here, but when we did not replace a full-time officer years ago, we had plenty of part-timers to fill those positions, and they were good part-timers. And over the past few years, it's becoming more and more difficult to get part-timers to fill those positions and to maintain them. And that, I think, really is the driving force behind wanting and needing another full-timer. It's just that, and I know that he gave me numbers, and I don't want to repeat them, but how little, a few people are graduating now from the academies. But I really think when council, when you're asking why they didn't hire somebody, it wasn't that, it was more along the lines of, we had part-timers to fill those positions, and our full-timers weren't overworked, and it was keeping our budget balanced. Because we run on a cash basis, and what that means is the money that's in the bank on December 31st is what we got, okay? And that's what we try to tie to. We can't, raise taxes just to raise taxes to have extra money out there. We have specific accounts. So that was part of the process of not raising taxes. I've been here 20 years. That's my experience. But I believe the main thing was when we started not being able to find the part-timers is when this became a big issue. Am I correct, Dave? Am I wrong in what I'm saying?
That's accurate. We used to have a lot of part-timers, and we had good part-timers, and we don't have them anymore.
And that's the driving force behind now needing a full-time, or them asking for it. So I just wanted to explain that. I hope that helped.
Okay, thanks, Elaine. Is there any other old business, new business to come before us this evening? Mr. Bisson would like to say something.
Sure, nice to see everybody here in town. Come to a meeting. With some of you could possibly, I know it's hard to get down to a meeting downstairs in the council chambers, and try to make a meeting. You can see it gets quite involved. It just isn't at the police department. The whole thing's involved with everybody. Sure like to see some of you folks down there. I try to get as much as I can, so does everybody on council. So I wouldn't get sick. My legs are running out, so I can't run too much longer, but try to make a meeting and try to come and give us some help, okay? We're here to get help too, not just give it, okay?
Thank you
very much.
Thank you. If there's no old business and new business to come before us this evening, can I have a motion for adjournment?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion carried, meeting adjourned.